What if Panasonic's next compact secretly beats your full frame in real-life shots? At night, on the street, in tricky light. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel where we dig into the camera rumors that actually matter. Today we're unpacking the LX100 III whispers, why they sound bonkers at first, and why they might actually be plausible. Stick around because by the end, I'll tell you the one scenario where a compact like this could legitimately replace a bulkier rig for good. Here's what the leaks are saying in plain English. Insiders keep popping up the same notes. A new multi-aspect 4/3 sensor in the 20 to 25 megapixel range, a redesigned Leica collaboration zoom, roughly covering 24 to 75 millimeter equivalent with very fast apertures, a proper 5-axis stabilization claiming multiple stops of gain, a hybrid phase detection autofocus with lots of points, and serious video chops like 4K at 60 frames per second with 10-bit internal recording. Take these as leaks, not gospel. But several rumor threads and hands-on chatter across the community point to the same broad upgrades. Okay, rewind. How can a smaller sensor compete with full frame? It's not magic, it's trade-offs. A fast, high-quality lens plus multi-aspect sensor gives you more usable pixels across different crop shapes without losing sharpness. Tasteful optical bokeh from an f1.7 to f2.8 equivalent zoom will often look more film-like than aggressive phone computational blur. Add proper stabilization and you can handhold at slow shutter speeds to capture long exposures or low-light scenes without a tripod. For run-and-gun street shooters, that combination, optical quality, stabilization, and fast real-world AF, can produce images that are more usable straight out of camera than a heavier full-frame kit that needs gimbals, fast primes, or dozens of settings to get the same result. This isn't just specs for spec lovers. Compare the rumored LX100 III philosophy to what others do. Some brands double down on giant zoom ranges, others on one perfect prime with signature color. Panasonic seems to be aiming for versatility without compromise. Real zoom, real bokeh, and real video. That middle ground is huge for content creators who want one pocketable tool rather than multiple bodies. Does it beat every full-frame camera? Number. But for travel, street, and hybrid vlog plus photo work, this could be the single camera many people actually carry. If Panasonic times this for a 2025 launch and nails pricing, we could see a compact camera comeback moment. People are tired of hyper-computational photography and are craving optics again. That swing back to organic, lens-driven imagery is the opening Panasonic could exploit, but timing is everything. Wait too long and phone computational leaps could blunt the impact. Ship a compelling package early, and you might reshape the enthusiast compact landscape. Rumor pages and community threads have been buzzing about a possible 2025 window and mid to upper $1,000 price tier. Treat that as rumor data, not an announcement. So where do you sit? Skeptical or hyped? My take is this. If the LX100 III delivers on sensor, lens, stabilization, and video, it won't replace every full-frame camera, but it will replace a surprising number of setups in real-life shooting. Drop your thoughts below. What if Canon finally put real cinema power into an R6-sized body without turning it into a brick? Today we're breaking down the R6 Mark III rumors that suddenly feel like final specs, release whispers, pricing position, and the one technical change that could make this the go-to hybrid for creators who shoot both fast stills and serious video. I'll walk you through the sensor tech, the video chops, autofocus, and IBIS, the workflow trade-offs with the C50, and who should actually buy this camera. So stick around until the end, because I'll tell you which shooter this is aimed at and why it might replace two bodies in your bag. The headline, a 24-megapixel stacked full-frame sensor, basically the change that flips the R6 playbook. Stacked sensors read data far faster than traditional designs, which means much lower rolling shutter, faster burst speeds, and video readouts that don't melt your workflow. Rumors say Canon leaned on R3-style readout architecture, but tuned for the R6 class. Less fuss, better thermal behavior, and a sweet spot between resolution and speed. Translation: cleaner stills at high frames per second, and video that behaves like a hybrid should. Great for event shooters who also want cinematic footage. Video is where this camera is trying to be smart, not extreme. Leaks point to 6K, oversampled to 4K, true 4K at 120 frames per second, internal 10-bit codecs, and Canon log support, a serious step up from previous R6 models. It's not an open-gate 7K cinema body like the C50, so you won't get that massive capture area for heavy reframing, but you do get cleaner, cooler running 4K with high frame rate options and practical internal codecs for quick turnarounds. In short, cinematic quality that's tuned for hybrid shooters, not full-time workflows that demand open-gate RAW. Autofocus and stabilization are where the R6 Mark III could outshine a lot of competitors. Expect subject detection and tracking tech borrowed from Canon's R5 II or R3 lines, smoother, smarter DPAF behavior for video, and faster subject switching for stills. The IBIS rumors are juicy, talk of an 8-stop claim. If that holds, handheld run-and-gun video suddenly becomes viable without a gimbal for a lot of real-world shooting. Compare that to the C50, which deliberately forgoes IBIS to stay compact. One camera is built to be caged, the other to be carried. Ergonomically, the R6 Mark III seems to keep the traditional hybrid formula. Full EVF, vari-angle touchscreen, comfortable body for long shots, and feature parity that favors convenient internal workflows. Expect Pro codecs and maybe options for external RAW or ProRes RAW, but the emphasis is on getting publish-ready files fast, positioning, and price. Canon looks to slot this between the C50 Cinema tool and the Pro R series, a camera for creators who don't want to commit to a cinema ecosystem. In plain terms, expect an approachable price for hybrid shooters upgrading from the R6 II, not the wallet-busting cost of a full flagship. So who should care? If your day job is grading massive RAW, framing open-gate shots, and building a cinema rig from day one, the C50 still makes sense. But if you're a wedding shooter, indie filmmaker, or content creator who needs one body that nails fast stills and delivers cinematic video without a cinema rig, the R6 Mark III looks like the sweet spot. Which side are you on? Drop your thoughts below. Are you team hybrid or team cinema? If you like this deep dive, hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss the next video.